Hi, this is Tisch, Aitken, and I'm going to do a quick astrological report because I'm not really feeling it today, but I wanted to come on. There's very emotional energy. We are in Cancer season. We did have a very abundant and prosperous new moon. However, there are a lot of challenges. I'm not going to say it was the luckiest day or days of the year because it wasn't, and they weren't. But they did have opportunity in them. And Jupiter will be in Cancer through the end of next June of 2026. And Jupiter does love being in Cancer. But we've had really big challenges this month. We've had Jupiter clash with Saturn a third and final time. And then right after that, Jupiter clashed with Neptune. And that is difficult. And then in the solstice chart, those challenges are there. And then the Sun clashed with Saturn and Neptune right after that. And this is not easy. And Mercury is now in the sign of Leo. It entered Leo yesterday. And it's about speaking from the heart. It's going to be in Leo through September 2nd. It's going to retrograde on July 18th at 15 degrees and 34 minutes of Leo, with a fixed fire sign of Leo. And it's going to station direct on August 11th at 4 degrees and 15 minutes of Leo. And then it finally leaves the sign of Leo on September 2nd. So we've got Mercury in Leo quite a while. And there's more fire in the air. We've got 4 points in cardinal fire in the sign of Aries. We're working with a new dream, but we don't know what the hell that is, frankly. We've got Saturn and Neptune at the very early degrees of Aries. And Neptune, we don't know what's going on. We really don't. And it could be really magical, and hopefully it is, but we have choices in how we co-create with this. And there's very intense energy. Uranus, the planet of chaos and upheaval, is currently at an anaretic degree. It's at the very final degree of Taurus, where it does not like being. Taurus likes predictability. It likes to be stable. Uranus is the planet of chaos. And I remember when it entered Taurus on May 15th of 2018, there was a volcano that day in Hawaii. And there are eruptions going on throughout the world and our own lives and chaos. And we're going to see Uranus changing signs. We're going to see it entering Gemini from July 7th through November 6th. And I do think that's exciting. I think it's going to be a lot better in the sign of Gemini. But there's so much going on. And so I want you to be aware it's very emotional energy. And also Neptune is about to retrograde on July 4th. So adding to that emotional component that we're feeling, because we're in Cancer season. We had a beautiful new moon with some challenges, but I'm going to still say it was beautiful. But it also expands the energy. Jupiter expands. It may be the grand benefic, but it can expand a challenge too sometimes, right? Like Jupiter squaring Saturn, okay? And Saturn and Neptune close to the world point. Well, the world's in trouble. I don't need to tell you that, and you don't need astrology to tell you that. But we also co-create with that dream. And Venus is now traveling with Uranus because it's going to meet up on July 4th. And there are going to be sudden twists and turns financially, romantically, socially. I've always liked that energy when either Venus or Jupiter meets up with Uranus, when the two benefics, when either of them meets up with Uranus, because I always think it could be out of the blue excitement, opportunity, romance, fun, windfalls. It can be all of that, but it can also be unexpected financial challenges. It could be unexpected breakups or, disruption in partnerships, that's for sure. So there's that component. And with Mercury in Leo, it's going to enter its shadow on June 30th, meaning it's getting to 4 degrees and 15 minutes of Leo, which is where it stations direct on August 11th. So we're getting the preview of what the Mercury retrograde story is. And then Mercury will retrograde on July 18th at 15 degrees and 34 minutes of Leo. Then it stations direct on August 11th. But we're already getting Mercury in its shadow as of Monday the 30th, giving us a preview of what Mercury in Leo is going to be about. And again, it's going to remain in the sign of Leo through September 2nd, so it's going to be there all summer, or, for the hot months before the equinox, but still, in the majority of the summer. And what else do I want to say? The Neptune station is going to make things feel very emotional, very sensitive. It's not going to be as heavy as when it's in Pisces. Even though it rules Pisces, that's really heavy, and the last degree of Pisces is a very heavy degree of the zodiac. But nonetheless, it's going to augment the energy as any station does, and it's close to the world axis. It's close to 0 degrees of Aries, which impacts every one of us. And Saturn retrogrades on July 13th, so that's going to slow down too, and that's closer to the world point, and we're going to feel that in July too. So basically, as I mentioned, this month was that green light to get things going. Doesn't mean you don't get things going later in the summer, but we really didn't have any planets retrograde. We had a lot of chaotic energy this month, but aside from Pluto, which is retrograde about 40% of the year, we didn't have any personal planets retrograde, and we had some Gemini energy helping us and facilitating things. But this is getting in tune with your emotions. We just had Mercury squaring Chiron, the wounded healer. That's emotional. We're in Cancer season. You have Neptune stationing, and we had so much heavy Neptune energy earlier in the year. So good luck, hang in there. And I was going to say that Mercury will make a good angle to Neptune tomorrow morning, and that will be at early in the morning. And that is a good energy for manifesting, being creative, writing, doing spiritual practice. It will oppose Pluto on Sunday morning at 3:57 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That could be challenging. That could be an ending. That could be a big power play. So just be wary that the energy is a little wonky right now. Okay? Take care and good luck.